Hello everybody, welcome to another video. This is Zena Wilson here, and today we're going to be doing something similar to what I did with Oh No, It's Alex. Doing the same thing. I'm just not going to show the video because this is slightly easier, right? So you just see my camera and you can hear the audio from it. That, and I'm also worried about copyright. So, because I'm not entirely sure how the system works. I've even looked at like the help thing, and I'm still scratching my head. It is so bizarre how it works. Because I'll get videos that are flagged for copyright, but I have no clue why. I'll even like fight it, and they'll say no, it's still copyright for whatever reason. There's one video I have on my channel that's been flagged for copyright, even though technically it's not even flagged for the right reason. Right? The person who flagged it, some random guy on the internet. Some guy reported it, and they flagged it for, like, first of all, the completely wrong song, and it's like, what was the other? There's two things. They flagged it for the wrong song, and the placement of where they flagged it from is also incorrect. I think that was my birthday video. It was the most weird thing ever. I was like, what? It's not, you don't even have the right song labeled in the thing. What are you talking about? Anyway, let's get on with the video. So this is FritangaPlays. He's another guy who does the same kind of thing as Oh No, It's Alex. And there's been some stuff going on with the Activision acquisition by Xbox. I mean, that's not really that big surprise, considering that Xbox dropped 70 million, I don't remember, 70 something, it's a lot of money, that's all I'm gonna say. Anyway, let's get on with the video. I hope I don't get flagged for copyright from that.
Microsoft's acquisition of Activision, and Sony says that it wants to protect gamers by keeping games like Call of Duty on PlayStation.
What? What the fuck?
Ha! Right, okay, yeah, sure. Sure it is, sure. That's the dumbest thing I think I've heard so far from this whole acquisition. Like, you're not protecting anyone, you're protecting yourselves, because you're scared of Xbox actually competing with you. That's what it is, you big chickens.
Protecting the gamers from saving money. Good old Jim Ryan. What a guy. Always looking out for the well-being of the gamers. I mean, after all, that's why he's making sure the PSVR 2 has no backwards compatibility with the PSVR 1. Jim's gonna have a field day just
I didn't
like
know that.
with the next-gen ports of their PS5 games.
Why is it that PlayStation seems to hate this idea of backwards compatibility? Does anyone else notice that? Like, they seem to just hate the idea of it, that they'll deliberately go out of their way to make sure you can't do it. I don't know why, but they do. Like, if I remember correctly, you can play PlayStation 2 games on your PlayStation 4, but then you can't play PlayStation 2 games on your PlayStation 5. Even though you can play PlayStation 4 games on your PlayStation 5. Why? I don't know. That doesn't make any sense, but hey, Sony, do your thing, whatever.
They're gonna charge you full price to play those games again on your brand new PSVR 2. And of course, well, this is Jim Ryan's PlayStation, so I fully expect them to readily increase the price of that in 2 years from now. When it comes to protecting the consumer from better options, no one's better at it than Sony. The UK's Competition and Markets Authority has recommended beginning a second phase investigation into Microsoft's acquisition of Activision Blizzard, as it believes it could stifle competition in the video game industry in the region. Sony has responded that it welcomes the announcement of further investigation.
Oh, wait, you serious? Let me laugh even harder.
Wow! Way to show that you're totally chickens of what's going on. Wow!
Whoa, wow, who would have seen that coming? Typical Sony cock-blocking behavior. By giving Microsoft control of Activision games like Call of Duty, this
my
deal
light
would have
bulb's been
major
doing something
negative
weird for the last
implications
little while. That's why
gamers
there was a
in the future of the
flash.
gaming industry. industry. Sony said in a statement to Games Industry Biz, "We want to guarantee PlayStation gamers continue to have the highest quality gaming experience, and we appreciate the CMA's focus on protecting gamers."
Did you ever know that you're my hero? 'Cause you are the wind beneath my wings.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you.
What you mean to say is you appreciate the CMA's focus on protecting you. Sony is scared shitless right now. They are now hiding behind the CMA, and they absolutely reek of desperation. They want to preach about protecting the gamers, yet they get Modern Warfare 2 exclusive content. Their whole concern is about
Yeah,
Microsoft.
I've been getting loads of commercials for that. Well, until I got an ad blocker, because I was getting sick and tired of seeing these commercials. It's like, because for some reason PlayStation is complaining like, oh, the Xbox is gonna get this exclusive stuff, and then they're literally going out of their way to brag about and advertise the absolute crap out of exclusive content that the PlayStation is getting for Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone 2.0, I think it was. Okay, are you... You guys are idiots.
Of taking content away from PlayStation gamers, yet are actively taking COD content away from Xbox gamers. This is all about protecting their
Does they have a
self-interest.
stick up their butt?
It's exclusive.
Oh, God damn it. Wi-Fi has been absolute crap. Come on, you stupid thing.
One eternity later.
Oh, no internet. Okay. Oh, now it's connected.
Content like this that they are concerned about losing. If they truly cared about the gamers, they would be paying to make content for all platforms. But here they're paying to lock content away from other platforms.
Yeah.
And for Call of Duty, nonetheless, the very same game that they're claiming Microsoft is being unfair about. You can't make this up. This is the timeline we live in right now. Sony is in no position to say anything, especially when they're actively hurting other gamers. Sony fearmongers that giving Microsoft complete control of Call of Duty would impact their gamers, but they don't consider the impact they've made on Xbox gamers throughout the years with all these exclusivity
Yeah,
deals.
they don't
Jim
care.
Ryan's frivolous lifestyle can't run off of solely PlayStation exclusive content. You really think God of War Ragnarok is going to be enough to cover his coke expenses? All the higher-ups at PlayStation and Sony have very expensive and quite possibly illegal hobbies and spending habits. And
Well,
it's not...
isn't that most rich people? I mean, that's not just them. That's kind of everybody who's rich.
fueled off of games like God of War or Horizon Forbidden West. No, it's revenue generated in Call of Duty. I'm pretty sure that at least more than half of the higher-ups at PlayStation and Sony don't actually give two shits about video games, let alone
No, they're
gamers.
just worried
They
about
care
money.
Numbers. And you know what? There's nothing wrong
And
with that.
to be fair, that is probably Phil Spencer as well, along with whatever his face is, the owner of actual Microsoft, whatever his name is, I don't remember. But I'm pretty sure that they're concerned. They act like they're not, but I'm pretty sure that they're concerned about basically just the same thing: money. Sorry, I'm not fanboying for either one. I'm just pointing out a fact. It's a big multi-billion-dollar company.
It's just business. It's when you pose as a
It's just business, boys.
and of people that I can't take you seriously. It's like watching Mark Zuckerberg try to display emotions and tell his mom he loves her.
I'm making meats now. Smoking these meats here. Meat smoking? It's smoking. So
None of us here legitimately believe Sony has the ability to love or care about anything. Your own consumers didn't buy this. Well, I mean, except for the ones that eat paint chips and drink Jamba Juice. They know who they are. I don't really need to explain to these
Paint
guys
chips
how
and
little
Jamba
Sony
Juice.
cares
Wait,
about them.
what's Jamba Juice? Let me do this. What's that? What is Jamba Juice? What is Jamba Juice? It's a restaurant. Huh? So it's a type of juice? I don't see what's so bad about that. Juice blend of apple juice, concentrated, pear, pomegranate, citric acid, fruit, vegetable, blah 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 blah. Yeah, that doesn't sound that bad. I mean, it sounds kind of gross, but it has coconut water? Ew.
They're the only assholes right now raising the price of their console in the middle of a global recession. That is the Sony who says they want to protect gamers. And likewise, their legion of fanboys protect them from criticism. Ponies have gone from licking the boot straight up into Sony's bunghole. Viewer discretion is advised, and keep in mind you can't sue me for what I'm about to show you.
Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Sony, giving Microsoft control of Activision games like Call of Duty would have major negative implications for gamers and the future of the gaming industry.
Yeah, I'm
also,
sure it would.
Sony. I don't think Sony really cares about Call of Duty exclusive content. It's just a marketing deal. Microsoft has moved on to making Game Pass deals that are focused on the value of the sub. Sony's biggest fear is CoD on Xbox Game Pass Day 1.
Which would be totally dope, by the way. I'm making a video. Okay, sorry about that. Sorry for the jump and cut in the video. I just someone had to talk to me about something. Anyway, back to the video.
Having to compete on value for consumers. I don't understand. Where's the lie? How did this tweet attract so much hate? This man was martyred by Pony Twitter for speaking the goddamn truth and pointing out Sony's own hypocrisy.
Well, that's just because they don't want to hear the truth. You can't handle the truth, Sony.
And exposing what they truly care about, which is the marketing rights. Everything else is nothing more than PR talk, which is basically gospel for the Sony ponies. Now, it just so happens to be that one of these Sony ponies is also a gaming journalist.
Yes, because getting early access to a beta demo and costumes is exactly the same as being worried a major franchise will get lost out of your platform, like what happened with Star.
It wouldn't... Sony is worrying about it being locked out of their platform, but it would be absolutely idiotic for Xbox to do so. It'd be like locking Minecraft from PlayStation. It wouldn't have been smart. And you know what? They're smart. They didn't do that. You know why? Because it makes them money. They're not going to lock COD to one console and the PC. That would be stupid. And they would lose a large portion of revenue. The real reason Sony's worried about it is not because they're worried about the consumer rights or it being locked away from them. The reason they're worried is because they don't want to be paying more to Microsoft. That's the real reason they're worried. They don't want to be paying Microsoft to have... They don't want to be giving half of the money they get from COD on their console to Microsoft. Because that's what they're going to have to do when Microsoft gets a hold of COD. A large portion of the money they make on their console from COD is now going to go to Microsoft and Xbox. Their direct competitor in the gaming market. That's why they don't want it. That's the only reason.
A goddamn journalist is sitting here, acting like Final Fantasy, Spider-Man, and Street Fighter aren't being locked behind the PlayStation. Major franchises. Are we supposed to pity, hate, or favor a single one of these corporations? Microsoft locking Elder Scrolls and Starfield is a big no-no, especially if they're gonna do it with Call of Duty. But Spider-Man being locked away to PlayStation. Final Fantasy being locked away. Street Fighter being locked away.
People constantly talk about Final Fantasy. And I actually watched some gameplay of it, and I looked up the story, and I could really care less if that was locked to PlayStation. It wasn't that interesting of a story, in my opinion. Lord of the Rings and even Harry Potter, a series I don't even really like that much, I found was way more interesting in its storytelling. And even its games I've played, I just found them much more interesting than what Final Fantasy seems to offer. Which, keep in mind, I haven't actually played Final Fantasy, so maybe playing it, you gotta play it in order for you to actually like it. I don't know. It's kind of the same thing with Dark Souls, right? Yeah,
Wait, that makes perfect sense. PlayStation needs to do
Oh,
that.
but Spider-Man, I do hate that PlayStation locked that. Spider-Man is one of my favorite superheroes, and the fact that I can't play the game because Sony's greedy and like hogging all the chips that are Spider-Man or Spider-Man related is really irritating. Like, because if you don't know, one of my favorite villains that Spider-Man has, Venom, anti-hero, is also technically locked to the PlayStation because they own it. So any game they might come out with that's for Venom, which would have been awesome to play on Xbox, I'm no longer able to play because they're hogging all the chips. So, yeah. That's the only one I actually cared about the exclusives. The Spider-Man series and all the enemies that it comes with, that one I care about. I could care less about what's the other one? Horizon, I could care less about God of War, I could care less about Final Fantasy. Just screw them all except Spider-Man.
Microsoft's not allowed to play the same game because they have a bigger wallet, and that's not fair. Just think about all the content that's been missing on the Xbox due to PlayStation paying for exclusivity deals. It's what gave their console the biggest advantage, and I didn't see no bitching about monopolies or how this would hurt the industry or PlayStation gamers. I didn't see Phil Spencer
because all people are just like,
crying and begging
yeah, well, it's competition. No one cared.
Spaces. There were no public meltdowns. It was all fair game then, it should be now. Unfortunately, when it happens to the other side, you get a completely different result. An entitlement like no other. Xbox gamers are never allowed to worry about any content being locked away from their console, but the ponies are perfectly entitled to being worried about losing a single IP. They must have everything and everyone must have nothing.
Sounds about right.
To make games exclusive,
Acting like children is what it
that
is.
much money for acquisitions, but at least they should be genuine about their intentions.
Exactly. Where have they been disingenuous about their intentions?
Yeah,
they
where?
clearly agreed to honor any agreements and contracts between PlayStation and Call of Duty up to a few years, and that their biggest plans are to bring Call of Duty to Game Pass. The only ones being disingenuous with their intentions are PlayStation. Instead of just
they're the
coming out
only
and
ones
saying
actually
that they're
lying.
scared shitless about losing Call of Duty, they're trying to rile up their blind loyalists into believing that Microsoft owning Call of Duty is going to hurt the entire industry, and good old PlayStation just wants to protect gamers from that. Instead of taking the massive hit like Microsoft has for years, Sony has decided to sensationalize this instead of putting themselves in a situation where they would have to start innovating once again. And evidently it would seem their propaganda works when even a blue checkmark journalist is falling for it. He wants Microsoft to be genuine with their intentions, as if that's a genius business move. No, that's stupid. Microsoft giving away their intentions is giving away their strategies. Why would they put themselves at a disadvantage like that? You really think they're dropping $70 billion just to tell Sony what they're going to do next? How did this man ever get a job writing for anybody? This is the type of insight you'd expect from JTech TV or King Thrash Gaming.
Yeah,
Want to
definitely.
PlayStation
If you don't know who those
continue
are,
to
those
have
are like some of the
highest
biggest
quality
channels on
gaming
YouTube
experience,
that are
and
like
we appreciate the
Sony
CNA's focus on protecting
ponies or
gamers.
whatever they call them.
Xbox has repeatedly committed to COD staying multi-platform. Meanwhile, here's Sony's version of protecting gamers.
I love how he puts it in quotation, protecting gamers.
You can't keep getting away with it!
Yet another heathen going against the sacred word of Sony. How dare they point out the flaws and hypocrisies in the scripture?
8,000 likes, damn.
Impressive.
Those equivalents. Exclusive DLC, literally industry standard practice. Xbox popularized. Xbox had CoD DLC exclusivity 5 years ago during 360. Plus, Phil only committed to CoD.
Did you just say 5 years ago during the 360? What are you smoking? You know what year it is? It'll be much more than 5 years.
Staying multi-plat for 3 years post-contract.
Oh.
Entire point Jim was calling out. No permanent multi-plat guarantee.
And why should a permanent multi-plat
Yeah,
be
that is kinda
guaranteed
true.
exactly? Microsoft is not obligated to guarantee anything to Sony.
Sony's their competitor. They don't have to do anything for Sony. The fact that they're willing to do what they're doing now for PlayStation is already kind of surprising.
Whether they will make the content exclusive or not. Nobody's up in arms about it. We understand that competition is competition. Either play the game or get played. Jim Ryan can't be setting these rules and then bitching about them.
Did you get hacked?
Because I'm calling out Jim Ryan for talking nonsense? Pretty sure I don't need to be hacked for that.
In post, I seen you making console war-like tweets, which is why I asked. Carry on.
Jim Ryan said it, not me. Maybe talk to him about console war-like tweets.
A bird.
Speaking on you, try to be disingenuous with your arguments. An exclusive skin.
What is he doing? That's disingenuous.
Early access to a beta is not the equivalent of a 70 billion acquisition of an entire company. Also, they're still under
Oh, it is
contract.
billion. Okay, 70 billion.
Just don't get it, do they? The entire point Destin is trying to make is that Sony claims Microsoft is trying to lock content away and lower the quality for gamers, while they actively locked content away on CoD from Xbox gamers and other platforms. It shows
Yeah.
you what Sony is truly scared
It is
of
the
losing.
hypocrisy
It's right
that he's
there
pointing
in
out.
front of them. And yet
It's
the police can't see it. Yet they
Yeah.
literally buy into what PlayStation says about caring about the quality of the game. Don't believe me? Just look. Why do you care about who owns Call of Duty when it will still come to PlayStation?
Because I actually care about the quality of the game and franchise. Why don't you care about
It's hard to
the
listen to sometimes. Like,
foundation?
just like the absolute amount of idiotic.
Did I not tell
The
you?
hell was that?
I told you, didn't I? Word for word. Whatever
Oh, did he just
PlayStation
use his
said, whatever
bomb or
PR
something? Is
bullshit
that what he
they
just
spewed,
did?
That is their
Probably.
next gospel. Just
If you're wondering, Fritanga is kind of like, he's like supposed to be like this kind of edgy YouTuber who does jokes about drugs all the time and drinks on, not on camera, but he drinks on mic and smokes and does all this stupid stuff. Well, not stupid stuff, but stuff that you shouldn't be doing on here because, I don't know, I just...
PlayStation said, stop bullshitting us. You don't care about the quality of Call of Duty whatsoever.
No, they
Because it's
don't.
been
They're
going
just
downhill
scared
for
that they're
quite
gonna have
some
to
time.
actually compete.
Anybody who's actually a Call of Duty fan would look at this as a good thing. Clean up Activision, reform it, and get it back to work on Call of Duty with fresh ideas. The only thing you really care about is how this affects PlayStation, let's be real.
Actually, side note, wouldn't it be awesome if 343, because they're saying, I don't have any proof that this is wrong or correct, but they're saying that they don't have the resources and stuff to do a live service game for Halo Infinite, right? Now, I don't know if that's true or false. They could be lying, they could not be lying. I don't know. But if that is true, imagine what Microsoft could do with the acquisition of this company, because all the game studios that create CoD, that's like all they ever make, right? So they're great at making first-person shooters. I mean, mechanically, I mean. So imagine if they got them, actual permanent studios that they own, working with 343 to help with the live service for Halo Infinite.
Yeah, this is big brain time.
It was Microsoft who acquired them, and not Embracer Group, or Apple, or Amazon.
That is true, because they're the only ones that could have actually bought like realistically bought something like Activision, right? Because there's no way Sony could have afforded this acquisition. Like, no way possible they could have. Apple, Amazon, Microsoft, those are like the only ones that could have realistically afforded Activision because of how big their companies are. Sony, in comparison to these other companies, it's like putting a corgi beside a Great Dane. The Great Dane being Microsoft, the corgi being Sony, right? There's a bit of a difference between the two.
Activision was crumbling. They are going to be in a far better place than they were under Bobby for the past decade. If Sony truly cared, they would have been doing something to improve the quality of Call of Duty. But they weren't, were they?
No,
they
they
were
weren't.
just paying for priority skins and DLC packs so that they could monetize Call of Duty as much as possible, no matter how much it sucked that year. Now, unfortunately, we're not quite done yet. It's one thing.
Oh God, we're not done yet.
It's another to have to sit through a video, especially when it involves MPG and his salty ass. But you know what? Fuck it. I refuse to suffer alone. If you click off at this point, you're a goddamn coward.
You're wrong. I'm not a coward. I'm not a coward.
Super Gaming, you're saying we are in the age where people are mad
Jumped
when a
off
game
the
doesn't
cliff.
come to Game Pass, and their first question about a new game is, will it be on Game Pass? Dude, I know, man, and I fucking hate that shit. You know? Like, it looks so sad and pathetic. Like, not because gamers want a great deal, but because you are hurting the gaming industry.
What?
You are.
Come again? Encouraging a business practice where people pay little to nothing for a game versus
Is
Sony's model
bad.
that increase the price on you by $10? That's what's hurting the industry and gamers all around. Pony?
Right, no. That makes perfect sense. Perfect sense. Makes so much freaking sense. I'm gonna walk away right now. Talk about how much sense it makes. Makes perfect sense. Perfect sense.
Nothing but bitch and complain about how Game Pass is hurting the industry, but yet not a single one of them can point you to an example of that happening. Meanwhile, I can point you to every single example of Sony's price hikes hurting gamers. With Game Pass all that.
Nobody asked for games to suddenly be taken from $60 to $70, Sony. Nobody asked for that. You didn't need to do it. You did it because you're greedy. Same with your console. You brought the price up simply because you could and you wanted to. It had nothing to do with inflation rates. Because nobody else was doing it. Only you. So screw you, Sony.
Devs are doing is getting a nice fat bag of cash from Microsoft and more attention for their game. It is in my interest to see all my favorite developers eventually have their games on Game Pass. If it helps
That
them
would be
that
dope.
much. Until then, unless you have examples of Game Pass hurting the industry, quit talking out of your ass.
You know? Like, if there's I want to stress this one last time. This probably won't be the last time, but I want to stress it again. Why do you think no other video game publisher has created a Game Pass competitor yet?
Because it takes a lot of money and resources to make something like that. A lot of effort. And a lot of these companies don't want to put it in because they can charge people $70 for their games rather than making a Game Pass service like thing that actually competes with it. What do you mean? I don't make this guy.
Seriously. So Microsoft's been at it for years. They're not stopping, and we're being told that it's great for the industry. If it's so great for the industry, why has no one else created a Game Pass competitor?
Because no one's putting in the effort to even try.
Then exactly what is PS Plus? Isn't that the service ponies were saying was the Game Pass killer on Twitter? Now there's...
That is true. They were saying that. Which, side note, I don't want to pay nearly $20 for something and only be given demos and game... What is it? It's like what's it called? You get demos and stuff in the game, and you also get trials. right? Where you have the full game, but you only have a limited time to play the full game. Which is stupid, because why am I bothering to pay for this when I could just buy the whole game automatically anyway, if it's already released? Why would I pay $20 to only be able to have to rush and try and play the game as much as that doesn't make any sense. Why would you do that? You wouldn't, realistically. It's a stupid deal.
Saying a Game Pass competitor doesn't exist? Take off that goddamn hat, MBG. I need to see the bump on your head. You seem like a really nice girl, but my head is fine. Oh my god, that's horrific.
They can't take the loss. Oh. Well, there you go. So, I don't want to hear these people who are advocating for Game Pass and pushing for that shit so hard and saying, well, is it coming to Game Pass day one?
Well, the real question here is, if it's so bad for the industry, why have so many people created subscription services?
Like EA Play, Ubisoft, something, Xbox Game Pass, PlayStation Plus. There's quite a few that are like that. There's quite a few. It's kind of getting convoluted. It's a little bit like what's going on with like Netflix, Prime Video, Disney Plus. It's kind of getting into that same kind of thing, right? Only instead, unlike Netflix and Disney Plus, it's not a complete ripoff. Because you actually get a lot of stuff for it, what you're paying, and it's not even that much. If I remember correctly, Xbox Game Pass Ultimate is only $17, so it's really not that much.
Game Pass is not the only subscription service that exists. It may be the only service with first-party content day one, but that's about it. EA has their own. Sony has their own. If it was so harmful to the industry, I don't think a single developer would put their games on the service. As a matter of fact, I don't think a single publisher would come up with the idea of their own subscription service.
And you see these people, it's like, guys, I hate to break it to you, the only reason developers get a bag for their games on Game Pass, and I've seen this. I've seen so many people talk about, well, this dev said something positive. I'm sure they did. Specific developers that Microsoft is signing checks to put games onto Game Pass, they're not the ones losing. They're going to take the bag. Microsoft's losing because they're able to lose. They're able to afford to lose that money.
In a way, he's kind of right. In a way. Because, to be fair, the company, like I said earlier, like Sony's PlayStation Plus in comparison to Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, there's like no competition between the two, simply because Microsoft can afford to do a lot more with it that's more pro-consumer than what Sony can, simply because Microsoft is a humongous company and Sony is a smaller company, right? It's not like a really small company, but it's still a smaller company in comparison to Microsoft, right? Oops, wrong button.
Someone is taking a loss. The only thing Microsoft is doing is pulling the veil over.
The only loss happening is that of my own brain cells. He says that no other company could take the loss, and yet PlayStation still makes their own subscription service and still puts some of their most popular games on it. Who gives two shits who wins or loses exactly? It's about what's best for me. It's about saving my money. It ain't about Microsoft. Likewise, why would it be about Sony? If the developers get a big bag of cash and their game gets played by more people, you're gonna have a hard time convincing me that's gonna hurt the industry or any sort of consumer. People are getting paid to have their games played, and people are saving money as a result of that. Hell, how do you think I'm playing this lovely game you're seeing on screen right now?
What is that game? I don't even know what that game is. It looks like a mix between Doom and something else. I'm not sure what he's playing. What's it called?
Played, and people are saving money as a result of that. Hell, how do you think I'm playing this lovely game you're seeing on screen right now? Metal Hellsinger.
Metal Hellslinger or Singer? Whichever one it is.
On Game Pass, the devs are now getting more attention for their game. A YouTuber with 50k subs is using gameplay footage. Thanks to Game Pass, some of the best games of the year are published on Game Pass. Day one.
Oh, he died.
How in the world
He's talking about it and he just died.
And bad for gamers. The only thing it's bad for is your own ego. So easily hurt and triggered by Game Pass. Nothing upsets ponies more than seeing people happy about saving money for video games. Because it means Microsoft has accomplished their goal. And that's enticing people with the value of the service. Honestly, it's getting worse by the week. Jim Ryan is salty, the ponies are salty, journalists are salty, social media is a mess, and the acquisition has still...
Well, I mean, social media has always been a mess, so that hasn't really changed. Especially Twitter. It's full of toxic jerks.
Not been completed. Game Pass growth is just getting started. How bad is it going to get? The potency of that salt legit may kill you guys. No, I'm for real this time around. Well, with the way things are going, I don't think either of us are going to be alive by then. So that's a relief, but not as big of a relief as me ending the video. Thank God it's over. Consider becoming a member of this channel, and you should...
Okay, so that's the end of his video. And oh my goodness, my video is almost 40 minutes long. No one's gonna stick around to watch the whole thing. Yeah, so if you want to go watch this video for yourself, Fritanga, he's very good at raising different points and stuff like that with these videos and stuff. Although he seems a bit like a toxic douche, he is quite smart in many ways in his way of arguing and stuff like that. Like arguing a point, I mean. And you see that through the videos, right? He's very good at arguing a point against the other person, right? He should be a politician. No, I'm just kidding, don't it? Anyway, so if you guys did enjoy the video, remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Go check out my Patreon. My family needs the support, so if you guys would be willing to do that, you don't have to, obviously, but you can. The door's there. I'm not doing it just to get money from people, okay? Because I got a comment recently about the thing saying, oh, well, the only reason you have it is because you want to make money off of people, and well, no, the main reason is because I'm trying to appeal to people to help my family out. Right? Like, if you're willing to do that, which I would be eternally grateful for, donate some money. You don't have to do that, though. That is your decision. It is your money. You can do what you want. If you'd be willing to do that, I'd be forever grateful. If you're not willing to do that, well, that's your choice. I can't do anything to change your decision. Anyway, also go check out my Discord. Links will all be in the description below. Same with the links to the video. And for Tanga's channel. Go check out my Wattpad if you want to read some stories that I've written that are actually well written, unlike a lot of the other crap you see on, like, because now you see this a lot with other fanfic writers, but their stories are just like terrible grammar. It's like you know how people text? That's what it looks like. It looks like they're texting rather than writing an actual story. Mine, on the other hand, now keep in mind that I'm not saying this is for all writers, but a large portion of them are like this. So if you want to go check out some stuff with actual good grammar, punctuation and stuff like that, and I do a lot of spell checks and reading over, seeing, stuff like that. Anyway, if you want to go read stories that are actually well written, decently written, and good grammar and stuff like that, go check out my Wattpad. What else is there? Nope, that's everything. So I'll see you guys in the next video, and yeah, thanks for watching. Bye-bye. I don't know why I tapped my hat twice. I mess up that outro every time. Every time. Every time. Every time. I never can get it right. Never.